Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. My name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. And Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners, and you can find it on all good podcasting streams and on YouTube. And today my guest is Elinor Moshe, and Elinor has chosen a career that most women wouldn't find themselves in. And she is an ambitious and driven thought leader in the construction industry, and her passion is to guide, inspire, and direct future leaders and industry professionals. That has led her to finding Australia's first construction coach, and her business is called The Construction Coach. So, welcome, Elinor, and please tell me how you found yourself in the construction industry as a woman. It's so unusual.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. When I was in year 12, apparently I had a talent for art and all things, artistic. And you do tend to get influenced by the people and the teachers that you admire. So I actually pursued an architecture stream going into university. And whilst I did find that I was creative, not in that conventional sense, I decided that, look, architecture isn't for me. I thought I would be the grandiose architect with the name on the building, but it wasn't quite all that. So I pursued a more logical and process-orientated stream, which was construction management. And I still remember sitting there in the lecture theatre in 2013. It was March 5th, 2013, and it was everything and nothing all at once. And then I just had so many questions, and I was genuinely curious as to what was this construction world, what was this area which really facilitated and created the built environment around us. And of course, the evolution continued from there.
Yeah, yeah, as I said, it's just unusual. You find female tradies now, which is really great. I think that it's, them being allowed into yards and building sites is absolutely a step forward in the world. But why would you, I guess, have be a coach in that industry?
I got to a point in my career when I also felt very unfulfilled, and I got to a point where I was working so hard to get to there. And then I got there and I thought, this can't be it. I was unfulfilled. I was, not that happiness is anyone's duty but mine, but I was unhappy. And that was, of course, all a reflection of the thinking that got me to where I was. So I knew that if I wanted to change my own trajectory, I had to actually upgrade my thinking. So that was happening on one level. And then on another level, I had graduated from university, and I'm always someone who needs to do more. I'm a maximalist. If I do not have multiple ventures on the go, something doesn't feel right. That's why, people always ask, how do you do the book, the podcast, the business and everything? I was like, that's my natural disposition, as you're familiar with. So I started tutoring from completing university, and those conversations with me very quickly turned from how do you erect precast and how do you actually pour a slab to, oh no, I don't know what to do with my career, or how do you have a successful career? And I was only 1 or 2 years ahead at the time, and this trend kept on going. People would be always coming to me for career success and to really share my own trajectory. And I got to a point where, I couldn't tutor anymore because one-on-one has its limitations. So I started asking the universe better questions. How can I actually reach more people? At the same time, I wasn't happy with my own career. So I put the blend together and I conceived my own vision, and the universe downloaded the construction coach into me. And it was 11 o'clock at night on April 2019. It was during that Easter break. We had time off work, and when things settle and when you actually have time to think, that's when the magic happens. And I got the idea at 11 o'clock at night. I was up till 5 a.m. that morning, registering an ABN, figuring out how to start a website or do a website. It took me a month, as does everything the first time that you do it. And on May 7th, 2019, I announced the construction coach. And at the start, it was only a blog. And that's obviously a reflection of the worldview and what I saw as possible, or what the industry needed. But it was because I had just enough belief in the vision that the construction coach, not knowing what it would look like, would be the vehicle to get me to where I didn't even know I could get, did the universe align people and opportunities around me, which is how I met my thought leadership mentor, Ron Malhotra, and my world changed completely. And that's how you see the business and the impact that I have today, because I love mentoring so much. Like, that's why I was, before I got on with you, I was in a call like, Rose, I'm coming. I'm in a mentoring conversation on a Friday night with a client. It's what I absolutely love doing. And when you have the courage to take the path less traveled and to also craft out your own path and marry, two passions where there wasn't anything like this beforehand, has been phenomenally rewarding for me and, of course, valuable to the industry. And I know that it's only just the beginning.
Yeah, so I guess without getting, into it too personally, what type of people come to you to be mentored?
That's not a personal question at all. In the thought leadership world, we really base our clientele and who we want to work with on their psychographics. I love working with people who are ambitious. People who are not ambitious are not attracted to me. They're very repelled. They call it overconfidence, but that's a reflection of their own limitations and their own worldview. It has nothing to do with me. It's people who are driven. It's people who want to play the long-term game. It's people who are hungry. It's people who really are committed to improving their own lives. It's people who are committed, as I am, to constructing exceptional futures. It's about people who are making decisions out of their future, not out of their past. So different levels of my mastermind and different levels of my mentoring does attract different demographics and different types of people within the industry. But fundamentally, based on who I am, I only attract a certain type of person. And I, at the same time, repel people who are not made for me, who are not a match, who don't speak my language. I'm not the girl next door. I'm not, I'm a high performance individual. I'm addicted to achievement. Ambition is my first language. And if you speak that, we're going to get along just fine.
So you've written a book, Elinor. Please explain what the book is about. It sounds it's a one of a kind sort of a book that's not been written before.
It's the book that I wish I had when I was navigating my own career, when I felt overwhelmed, when I was standing at different levels, not just the outset, not knowing how to piece it all together. What is it that I really need to consider right now? Because you don't know what you don't know. So what I've done in this book, I've pieced it all together and I've given people the guide, the mentor, and the friend in terms of practical action and inspiration to construct their own career. And that's why the subtitle is, it's 12 foundational stages on the greatest project that you will ever get to work on. And it's not buildings. It has always been yourself. People in the construction industry spend so much time consumed with constructing things outside of themselves that when it comes to their career and it comes to their own vision and their own passion, purpose, and success, it doesn't happen.
Hmm.
So the book is really based on, not, it's definitely not in terms of conventional intelligence, because that ensures that people leave opportunity on the table. I'd really challenge people's paradigms and what they perceive as being, the truth into their careers. It's holistic as well, because success happens from the inside out. I'm not one to say that if you have the tactics and if you have the technical ability, you'll have an exemplary career. No, you won't. That's not enough. That part is only useful for a very short period of time in your career. But over and above that, you can't rely on it anymore. It will make you redundant. And that, again, is unconventional intelligence that people do not like hearing. So
Hmm.
I really had to write this book in the philosophies, in line with the philosophies that has served me. And the best piece of feedback, one of the best pieces of feedback that I've gotten, was someone ordered the book. He got home from work, he started reading it at 11 o'clock at night. He was up till 5 a.m. consuming the book, and he posted that on LinkedIn. And it is very nerve-wracking to release a book that is an extension of your brand and your philosophy, and to have it received like that is phenomenally rewarding
It is,
as
yeah.
well.
I agree. I was a co-author of a book in December. It was not about construction, obviously. It was about trauma and how women had overcome their traumas. And, it was a really rewarding chapter for me to write, obviously. And, so 25 of us or 26 of us got together and we each wrote a chapter about what trauma we'd been through and how we overcame that. So hoping to inspire others to, that they're not alone in the world, that things do happen either for a reason or that you can not get over them, but you understand what I'm trying to say. You use tactics and whatever to not skirt around them either. I can't even think about the word, but you're understanding what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
You can position yourself where you're over the trauma now and you can get on with your life. It's as best as I can put it.
No, that's right. These events happen, but you do not need to keep on having an emotional reaction to these events. We can't change the fact that it happened, but I can change how I choose to react to that on an ongoing basis.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're also a podcast host of Constructing You. Tell me a little bit about who your guests are and what you discuss.
Well, if you can't tell already, I love speaking. And when I looked at the podcast market at the time, there were no podcasts in construction that really focused on the people behind the projects. There were a lot of podcasts that really focused on, the technical aspects or the builds or, very project focused, but none about, who are the people behind the projects? Because when you ask, who built this, people have a tendency to recall the name of a company, but that is the sum of its people. So who are the people behind the projects? Who are the people who had vision to actually bring these projects to life? So I interview exemplary leaders and industry titans, but I don't want to know what they've done because you can look that up on LinkedIn. I want to know who they are and who they've had to become in order to achieve what they have. And by sharing the successful journeys of others, it's my duty as an industry leader to show people what is possible, because it is a predicate of the construction industry. You only get shown that you can be one thing, and that is a project manager. That is the end all. That is everything you should aspire to be a project manager. But if I'm aiming for that, if I had actually maintained that ambition and aimed for that and just been locked and loaded on something that I didn't set, I would have been walking away from an insane amount of opportunity when in reality I should be building a business, which is what I'm doing. Or maybe someone wants to work on international projects, or maybe someone, I don't know, they want to do trade, whatever it is, really, it's whatever you want. So unveiling...
The world's your oyster, basically, isn't it? As long as you take the steps towards it.
Exactly. So showing these successful journeys and showing the different paths that people have taken, but also who they've had to become, because, the people who have, incredibly successful organizations or CEOs, they're not the ones who are sitting back and waiting for good things. They're the ones taking action. They're the ones taking risks. They're the ones who have that resilience. They're the ones who have, agency over their mindset. So I'm really getting into that human element of them. As another guest on my podcast said, it's humanizing construction.
Yeah. And you're looking at now that you're dealing more with the top end of the construction industry, but the bottom end of the industry, the tradies. And they build their way up. They could benefit from what they hear on your podcast or from reading the things in your book if they have aspirations to do better than what they are. So it's not a tradie anymore.
That's right. And, there is a percentage of incredibly successful business owners who started on tools, and they have been able to forge incredibly successful paths. No degrees, no handouts, pure hard work and pure, skills. Some of them are really, really good. And it's necessary to see that, this is where I am today, but this isn't where I have to be for the next 40 years. It's all about choice and vision.
Absolutely. So what words would you give to any business owner? It doesn't have to be a tradie, it doesn't have to be in construction, because I know what you mentor on, can go across all industries. If you got some advice for people?
Absolutely. I don't have the ego to say I know exactly what I'm doing in all stages of the business at all time. And I could figure it out. It would take me 10 to 15 years of a whole lot of trial and error. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to lean into the experiences of other very successful business mentors. And I have a business mentor. I'm constantly seeking, his advice, his mentoring in order to get me to where I want to go. And does that mean, short term, deferring long term gratification and deferring that? Absolutely. But if I get to bypass a lot of challenges and really know how to build a business, then I will do that. I will do whatever it takes to give my business every chance of success. Otherwise, it's negligible business practice.
Yeah, it is. It is good to have a mentor, a coach, whatever you want to call it. I know they're two different things. However, yeah, if you can bypass the heartache, sometimes it's good. Sometimes you need the heartache though, because you won't learn lessons.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So thank you. So where can people find your book, Elinor?
My book is available on Booktopia and Amazon.
Beautiful. And your podcast on anywhere?
On Constructing You is available on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts as well. And if your audience would love to connect with me, I'm available on social media at Elinor Moshe _ on Instagram and Elinor Moshe on LinkedIn.
And your website is elinormoshe.com.
I make it easy.
I will definitely send them there to your website, and they can have a look. And if they want to connect with you, they can there.
Thank you very much for the conversation, Rose.
All right. Thanks, Elinor. Have a good night.
You too.
Talking with the experts.